Hello, it's Steve with Our Sustainable Journey. Today, I just want to give you a little bit more background about our facility, okay? So you can see we've got all the CFTs in here now. There are a total of 5. That's technically about a third of what we're allowed. I think our Illinois EPA has permitted us for 14 CFT units in this building, and that is kind of the goal. We shouldn't have an issue fitting them all in here because there's plenty of space still. But I want to kind of go through some of the process and the rules and the stuff we need to abide by to be a facility permitted by the Illinois EPA, because technically what we do is we are a solid waste disposal facility, right? So solid waste, basically your landfills are solid waste disposal facility because they take garbage and they dispose of it. So we're taking solid waste, which is food scraps, and we are processing it. We're not disposing of it, we're processing it into usable vermicompost for our customers. And so we had to get permits through the EPA in order to do this on a commercial scale. If you're collecting from friends and family and things like that, it's totally different. But when you're collecting a couple tons a month, right now is about what we're at. We can get up to, I think, 1.5 tons a week is, I think, what the permit is going to allow us to do. There are certain rules that you need to follow when you're doing things to that scale. And so I will walk you through some of those. I have the permit in front of me, and it's got a number of rules that we have to follow. One of them being that all the food scraps have to be fed into the bins within 1 hour of receiving them at the facility. So that's why we start collecting food scraps at between 5 and 6 in the morning, so that we can get them here and get them into these bins as soon as humanly possible, because that's one of the rules we have to follow. Another one is about odor control. So if any of our neighbors complain about odors, we have to fill out a log that addresses it, and we have to have odor control measures, which is kind of funny because we have pigs and chickens, and so we're a farm and our nearest neighbor is like a mile away. So if odors go that far, we've got some problems. So that's one of them. All incoming loads of material should be inspected, which is kind of funny because basically we're looking in the buckets as we dump them into the bins. We have to post a sign out front talking about this being a solid waste disposal facility, which is kind of funny. So I'll put it at the end of my driveway. Maybe my neighbors can talk about that. We need to have paved roads, which is kind of funny. It talks about what we're allowed to take. We can't take batteries. I don't think the worms would eat those anyway. Let's see. So then we have to test our material, make sure that there's no glass or metal, which is pretty easy because the worms wouldn't process that anyway. We need to test it every 3 months, I think. And then there's other rules like how much arsenic and cadmium and chromium and copper and lead and mercury and nickel and selenium and zinc is allowed to be in this stuff, which is kind of funny because I hope none of that is in any of that stuff. So let's see. So there's the quarterly basis for the testing, or every 10 tons. So 20,000 pounds. We have to have it all tested. Other ones, we have to get approval from the EPA before we make any modifications. So if we were to add on to the building, like if we wanted to build up that loft a little bit or something, I guess we'd have to get them to approve it. Fire safety equipment, which is pretty normally you're supposed to have that stuff anyway. Prevention of mud tracking onto other roadways, which we don't have. I mean, our driveway's a mile long, but it's gravel, so we don't really track a whole lot of mud. No open burning of garbage, which we wouldn't do anyway. What are some of these other ones? Ensure that all utilities are necessary for safe operation, including water supply, electricity, and communications equipment. See, this building is, you know, what, 100 yards from my house. So I'm gonna make sure that I have all of the necessary utilities. But they break it out, like we can't have plastic film wrappers, rubber bands, twist ties in the final product. They go to such specific lengths to make sure that we have all that stuff. It's fascinating, and this whole process to get the permit itself, it took us 7 months, and that's just to get the permit to build the facility. That's not even the operating permit. So you need an operating permit to actually do what we are currently doing. We're doing it at low volume, so it's not a big deal right now, but as we ramp things up, we're gonna be working on getting that permit as well. I don't know how long that process is going to take. Probably another 6 or 7 months. So we'll see. We'll keep you all posted. But that's just kind of something you need to think about. If you're doing this at a large enough scale, you want to make sure that you're following all the rules for your area. Other things that we would have needed to have done if we were in other areas is something called siting. So siting is basically, you need to get the approval of the town you're in order to do this type of facility if it's in a non-industrial or non-commercial or any other type of place. And even if it is, you probably need to get the siting, and that basically makes sure that you're doing it in an approved way, in an approved place, because you don't want your neighbors complaining about the 10 tons of food scraps that you're processing every week, or whatever. So that's something else you need to consider, and that's why we're doing this out in a very rural part of Illinois, so we don't have to deal with some of that stuff as far as the siting goes, because if we had neighbors real close, there's no way that anyone would want us doing this anywhere near them, and that's okay. I totally get it. When you see the word solid waste disposal facility, you don't want to go anywhere near it. There's also certain rules if we decide we want to move or stop doing this. There's closing procedures we need to follow with the EPA. There's inspection guidelines, so they will come, and I don't know if they do random inspections, but they will do an inspection before we technically start ramping it up, to make sure that we're doing everything properly and storing everything properly. So it's kind of good, you don't want just any random person doing a landfill, I guess. It's just very silly because we're using worms and we're using food scraps. It's not that big of a deal to me, I guess, but I've been doing this for years, so it seems kind of silly for some of these rules, but that's some of the stuff we have to deal with in doing what we do. So that's why I say doing it at a commercial level is not for everyone. It's kind of a pain, actually, because it's taken us this long. It took probably 6 months just to get to the right people, because there is nothing in the Illinois EPA laws about vermicomposting. They don't apparently know much about it or do anything about it, so we had to teach them a lot when we were setting this up and trying to explain the entire process, because it just didn't make sense. They were used to landscape compost and traditional compost facilities, but not vermicompost facilities, and so we had to do a lot of write-up detailing exactly what happens, exactly what types of worms we're using, what they do, how it all comes out, all the testing and all that other stuff. So it's been a long road. So just wanted to walk y'all through it, let you know what we've gone through to get to where we are, so that if you're the type of person that wants to start up something like this in your area, you can reach out and ask questions. Send me an email, send a comment on one of the videos. I try to get back to everybody if I can, because I would like everyone to do stuff like this, even if it's on a small scale, even if you're just doing it in your backyard. Like, that's totally cool with me. You don't need all these CFTs in a barn on your property. You can just do a small little, you know, these little bins right here. These work just fine. There's nothing wrong with them. We have a few of them that we use for experiments and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's a glimpse into the behind the scenes of what we've done here in the last year, essentially, with how long it took us to get here. And I just wanted to kind of show you that and show you that we now have all 5 CFTs in one place, and we'll be adding over the next year probably 9 more, which is exciting. So stay tuned. There will be a lot more CFTs and worm videos and things like that, and we'll show you life here out on the farm. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, ask a question. I totally love that stuff. If you want to see more videos like this of life on the farm here, hit the subscribe button, click the bell so you get notified when a new video is posted. I try and post them every Saturday. I would post more often than that, but like I've said, we're in a very rural area and our internet is not the best. So basically, when I upload a video, it takes about 3 hours for the internet to handle it. I've contemplated driving out to like a Starbucks or something. I just don't know where the nearest one is. I think it's probably a half hour away. So then round trip, it's not even really worth it. So I'll just set it to upload overnight. So that's why right now there's one a week. If we can get, maybe if Elon Musk's Starlink will work in this area and isn't such a crazy expensive endeavor, we'll latch onto something like that, because it's supposed to have better download speeds than what we have right now. But we can't get traditional cable internet service or DSL or any of that stuff. They won't come out here. Believe me, we tried. So we have to use a satellite or a hotspot or something like that, and the speeds are just atrocious. So that's one of the downfalls, I guess, of living way out here in the middle of nowhere, but I think it's kind of nice. So anyway, that'll be it for this video. We will see you all next time. All right, take care. Almost forgot. Wanted to show you guys the pineapple from a couple of weeks ago. Show you what happened, right? So there it is. We just left it out because I thought it was pretty funny. But look, it's completely turned to worms. They're slowly digging away at this, but it's mush. It's gone. Pineapples are fine for worms. So I don't know what you read online, but you saw it here first. Worms love it. They ate the whole freaking thing because it's now just a big puddle of mush. There is really nothing left to it. So yeah, basically, if it was once living, worms will eat it. Cool.